Hello, my wonderful audience. This is Joanna Dos Santos from Mindful Counseling, here with you again on this beautiful day. I figured one of the topics for today, and this just goes into the brainstorming and thinking of what it is that I should be talking about today, and what is it that my audience would like for me to talk about. And so for some reason, the thought that came into my head was, what would you consider your safe space today? And what I mean by that is because, in fact, we are still almost cluttered into this one confined place, most of us at least. And what is this one place, whether it's in your house, maybe not, that you would consider that it is good and feels safe and comfortable, and it's a place of your own. It doesn't have to be a big place. It could be just a small place. It doesn't matter, but it's yours. And so I figured it would be good to talk about it today because as I sit in my office today, not at home, I'm in my actual office, because I realized that my daughter started school a few weeks ago, and it just would not be a good combination with her being doing school at home while I am seeing through Zoom or whatever the apps that I am using my clients. It would just be too loud, and I don't feel like that is professional of me to do. So my safe place would be my office. It allows me to be separate of my home. It allows me to be content and relaxed, sitting down and not necessarily needing to run in between sessions to take care of my daughter or maybe some of the needs, because I know she's also with someone that takes care of her and is able to do whatever it is that she needs to do. She's also 6 years old. I know I've mentioned it in my previous podcasts, but yes, that's what it is. So the part for me is recognizing, where is it that I feel good? Where is it that I feel safe? Now, of course, I do feel well and good in my house. However, I am thinking of COVID. I'm thinking of what's going on and being almost cluttered into this one place at home. What would one consider a safe place? Now, I'm also imagining my daughter, and her safe space is in her bedroom. That's where she has all her toys. That's where she runs to. And she loves it. And this is just something that I know she enjoys. And I am thinking of some of the other places that one might consider a safe place. And I'm thinking for kids, mostly kids, sometimes it's under your bed because it's quiet, under your bed or their bed, because it's quiet. It's nobody can find me there, and I can be alone for whatever time I am alone for. Hopefully not hours, but it's just a place that you can consider your own. I know, of course, for myself, I said my office. My office brings me sense of clarity. I am able to sit here while I take care of my clients and their needs, while at the same time taking care of my own needs. Ability to relax, ability to breathe at my own pace and just focus on myself. Other individuals, that could be the actual bed. Some of us, I know I've done it before, we work in our beds, whether it is because that's the only place at home to work from because other rooms are occupied, a place of comfort once again, and a place of safety for some. So then there's the attic. I'm thinking of the attic. How many times do we run away, whether it's the basement or the attic, to feel separate, to feel alone, to maybe feel safe? And once again, this is primarily for us today to just be mindful of ourselves as to what it is that we consider a safe space today for us, whether it is during COVID, whether it is during situations where we cannot separate from our families or loved ones or friends. Where is it that one goes to almost separate and run away. And I'm actually, as I'm saying this, I'm thinking of a bathroom. How many times do we find excuses for whatever it is to separate and go to the restroom, to bathrooms, not to necessarily do whatever we need to do, but to separate. So we find the bathroom as almost like the excuse to separate, to be with ourselves. That is our place, that is our time, and we can take as long as we want. And of course, that is if nobody else needs to actually use the bathroom. So this is just me reaching out to all of you to be mindful, to be curious in your most anxious moments. Where is it that you find comfort? And where is it that you can find yourself relaxed and well? Maybe a place somewhere outside. If you can do so, great. Maybe for some of us, it's the kitchen. I mean, sounds coming from a female. I love my kitchen and I sit there probably most of the time, but I enjoy it. It brings me comfort. Not because it has food and it has everything there, because that's of course part of it too for I think most of us, but because I enjoy it. I enjoy everything that's there and it is mine to almost take control of. So that's also another place for me that brings me comfort. And I know I'm talking about places that brings us comfort, but it's also things that we do that bring us comfort. As silly as it sounds, it could be even ironing. I know some people actually find ironing to be quite pleasant. Many might probably twist their faces right now because how would you find ironing satisfying? But it actually can be for some individuals. So not necessarily focusing on what place brings you safety, content, relaxation, but maybe the things that you also do along with it that brings you sense of calmness and relaxation. And it could be cooking, it could be baking, it could be driving. Driving for a lot of people can bring a sense of calmness and relaxation, enjoyment. Why? Because we might see things through observation, through our eyes as we drive on a road. And that can be quite satisfying. So once again, I just wanted to take this time, this podcast, the short podcast that I am giving you all today, to really focus on checking in with yourself as to what brings you comfort. I know it could be food for some of us. Who doesn't like certain foods and enjoyments of some? Places, things that we like to do, things that we can do, and not necessarily what we cannot do. I think that's one of the things that we might focus on a lot is find ourselves almost entangled, or tangled, I should say, in thoughts of as to what is it that I cannot do. I can't do this. I can't do that. Therefore, I have to feel this way. But needing to focus on what it is that you can do, what can bring you joy. And if it is something that unfortunately during this time is not around or is not able to do, then reshift the focus as to what it is that I might think that can bring me comfort, bring me joy. We live with families. Some of us, most of us, live with many individuals, families, partners, friends. And it is important to find a place of your own. Your room, your bed, a chair, a place that brings you comfort, that you know you can just sit and lay down and be in your own thoughts. Be comfortable with yourself. I know some of us might say television and living rooms, great. While watching TV, I would probably recommend not for too long, but long enough that it brings you enough comfort. Place, I think, when I say this, is a place where you can be okay with your own thoughts. I know some of us are not comfortable with our own thoughts because they can produce anxiety, and we don't like to be there. So that's why most of us like to do things, because we don't have to think so much. But once we are in our downtime, that's when we think a lot. So I think for me to say what brings you comfort today is the ability to separate, to be calm, to not necessarily be anxious about the thoughts, but to be okay with your thoughts. So for me, today, it's my office. I've been here for a few weeks since my daughter started school, and it feels good. This is where I'm doing my podcast today, and it feels good. So I am leaving you all with hopeful ability to be mindful of your own safe place, a place that you can feel good and relax, whether it's 5 minutes or an hour, that you can go to and then to go back to your routine. Once again, this is Joanna Dos Santos from your Mindful Counseling. Be well and be safe.